cuss? No more cussing.
Starts out.
All right, cool. So we're talking about generate your leads today. When I say generate your leads, what's the first thing that pops into your mind?
Generate, like, you're working your leads.
Find people to talk to.
Contacts.
Phone call.
Phone call. Do you know where I'm going today at 2 o'clock? I have an appointment.
Where?
Do you know where the lead came from?
Where?
I'm not lying. So this is why I was telling the story about the investment property in Cripple Creek. So we own this investment property, and we're up cleaning on like 4th of July weekend because my cleaner was out of town. I cleaned it twice the whole time I owned it, and one of them was 4th of July weekend. Well, these people come zooming by on 4-wheelers, and like they're old, cool people, right? You're gonna be like, these people are cool.
Totally.
And like I waved at them, and they're like, hey, I think you can see my house from your backyard. Can I look? I was like, sure, that's fine.
Okay, they wanted to see if they could see their house from your backyard?
Yeah, like it's in Cripple Creek, so it's like in these valleys. So it's cool to see your house from like the other side of the valley.
Cool.
So her name's Becky. Becky, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm more than happy to do this. How long have you lived here for? All this stuff. And just like being a very curious person, I'm like, well, yeah, if you guys ever like sell, we're in this area, I'd love to let you know. So we exchanged numbers. I saved her in my phone as Becky 4-wheeler Cripple Creek. Literally, that's how she's saved in my phone. I get a call on Thursday, and I go, hi, Becky. And she goes, you remember who I am? And I go, yeah, you're Becky on a 4-wheeler from Cripple Creek. And she just starts dying laughing. I was like, that's how I saved you in my phone. So anyways, they're thinking about selling their house, and they wanted me to come. They're either going to Airbnb it or sell it, and so we're kind of talking through that.
Whoa.
But
When somebody asks you if I should Airbnb or sell it, like, so do you break down what they could potentially make if they were to Airbnb it?
yeah, absolutely. So we'll go over the numbers how they want to Airbnb it. I run one Airbnb. It's great. Like it makes like $100,000 a year, so it's worth my time to make 10% on it.
But aren't the rules and laws changing so much?
Yeah. So don't buy. I say don't buy Airbnbs. You're getting me off topic, but Airbnbs are like a fascinating conversation because everyone's saying they're down. However, mountain properties are still doing pretty well. Like, if you bought a house in Banning Lewis Ranch and you were like, or Meridian Ranch, and you're like, I'm gonna Airbnb this thing. Those things are just falling off the cliff because you can just go get a hotel that's way nicer than that.
But like the destination ones.
But the destination ones are still doing pretty well. So like if you have a mountain view, if you have like an A-frame, if you have like a certain criteria of houses, like Cody, one of the main investors I work with.
Unique property.
Yeah, like we're pretty picky about what we're buying at the moment. So, but they still cash flow. You can still get them cash flow pretty easily. Teller County is probably the best right now to do it in, unincorporated Teller County. But anyways, we can talk about that later. So yeah, we'll have a conversation about what it would make per year. So there's a tool that will help you determine that and walk through it. So
I think it's because a lot of the bigger cities are changing the laws on Airbnbs. Like you have to be your primary residence, you have to live there at least 260 days a year, things like that. So that's starting to spread.
Or like Breckenridge was just like, you can only have 30 bookings a year. And it's like, what the flip does that even mean? Woodland Park.
How long can a booking be?
It can be up to.
There's limits on that too,
Yeah,
right?
but people
No,
only
you-
stay
as
for
long
like
as you
9 or
want.
2,
Really?
so then you can only have.
But then you just turn to a long-term rental. You cut
Yeah.
Airbnb out. So yeah, there's tons of rules and regulations around Airbnb, but we'll talk about it later.
Cool.
But anyways,
Generate your leads.
generate your leads. Yeah, I say all that to be like, you don't know. We talk about like you can do all this stuff and like lead generate, but it's like I'm always lead generating. Like it just doesn't stop. Like my wife she was so mad at me. I was in Uray. It's like my wife and I was like get away, and there's a KW on the strip, and I like go in there and I'm like, hey Kim, like that was the person on the door. So I talked to Kim for 20 minutes about her business, blah blah blah. I'm at a listing appointment, and the guy goes, I kind of want to buy in Uray. I'm like, great, I have an amazing agent there. Like you just continue like to talk to people and create curiosity, and you're just curious about people and what they're doing.
You went into the KW office or you ran into somebody?
I went into the KW office.
That's cool, Jonathan.
I know, it's fun. So generate your leads. So what have you guys learned? What's been your favorite thing so far through this section of the night? Even though I know this is your first time. What have you learned so far? What's your biggest aha from last week?
the like daily tasks of like 10 real estate conversations, like
Mhm.
add 10 contacts, dude, like
Yeah.
that whole thing. I have yet to complete like 100% of it for a single day yet. But I think doing that every day is like a really good habit to just continually increase your database and increase
Yeah.
your sphere, and like I think it would definitely pay off.
My biggest takeaway has been the E&P. Like, I was approaching this like I do everything else as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur
Yeah.
instead of like a purposeful trajectory in one direction.
Yeah.
And everything has changed for me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, nothing's changed, but everything's changed.
Right. I mean, your
You know
mind
what I'm
changed,
saying?
right? Like,
Yeah.
change your mind, change your mindset, and it's
Yeah.
like, or change your mind, change your world.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
Once you start, where you're not just like, I'm just gonna do this thing. It's like, no, I'm gonna stick to this plan for like 6 months or a year, whatever it is.
Totally. Now I'm trying to pick a purposeful like direction in real estate because I'm like residential, no commercial, no divorce, no this, no that, no that.
Yeah, and there's 1,000 different ways that
Uh-huh.
companies and people try to sell you, and it's like you just gotta stick with one and do it.
Mhm.
Is it possible to get those 4 previous ones? Like the.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
online.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, I'll show you after. But,
Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway so far?
So Dan Hillman said something last week that resonated with me. It's like real estate is literally an excuse to do your favorite hobbies. So
That's very true. And Dan's like a great example of that. I joined a cornhole league because of Dan
I need the information.
up in Woodland Park every Wednesday from 6:30 to 8. Okay, so right, generate your leads. Honestly, like this is what matters because most people in their real estate business have a lead problem. And I was just at Built How, which was Places conference, and this guy was talking about he was like literally, he's like if you want to get momentum in your business, setting appointments and talking to leads and getting people, like it changes everything about it. He's like if you set an appointment in a day, like every day for a week, you're like I have 5 opportunities to go sell real estate. Like how awesome is this? Versus being like like I haven't set up like. It just drags you down. I call it winning in real estate, right? So I'm a big sports fan, and like everyone says, like winning cures all, right? If your team's struggling and there's conflict, winning cures it. And like setting appointments in your real estate business and closing deals cures all your problems. For a long time, for where we're at in our business. So I love this quote from Gary Keller. My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. What does that mean to you?
Mhm. It means that you're too focused on yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel it's just like that limiting mindset. If you let that fear of failure like run your life, then you're not gonna go get leads. Like you're not gonna be successful.
Yeah. You're not gonna get leads. When you have an appointment, it's gonna be terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've been to so many appointments and I've been on so many phone calls and just failed. Like just bombed. Here's a great example of like fear of failure, right? So I have this lead source, it's ZBuyer, and anyone can go get it. I like challenge you to go get it and compete against me. So I have fun with it. Most ZBuyer leads, you walk into the house and you're like, oh my gosh, you poor soul. What happened to you? Right? It's like like the last one I went on, it was literally like boxes stacked to the ceiling of stuff. And then a shed, a 10 by 20 shed, floor to ceiling of stuff. And I'm like, she's like, well, like I bought this house and I had a 7,000 square foot house and there's no flooring and there's no ceiling. Like this is typical ZBuyer leads that you walk into.
Typical what are you saying?
It's a typical like ZBuyer lead. Right? On occasion you get like $1 million lead. But like you like almost never set appointments with those people. So I, being a genius real estate agent, set an appointment with this house, ran comps on it, and I was like, well, these all look like they're like 7,000, 750 houses. I'll prep for it a little bit. So I like ran like a really quick CMA, didn't even print it off. I was like, I'm just gonna move this guy. He's like, I don't want to move for another year anyways. I was like, this is gonna be a waste of time of appointment. I get there, sadly mistaken. It was like a $1.2 million house, 7,000 square foot mansion. And the guy was like, yeah, I just sold my business and I want to like downsize and I want to go buy another $1 million house. So it was like a $2.2 million appointment that I was totally unprepared for. I winged the whole thing. But if I would have let my fear of failure, like I should have just like walked away. But I was like, well, I already set the appointment, so I might as well have fun from here.
Yeah.
But like getting over that fear like over and over and over again, because you never know what you're gonna run into.
So basically everything you had pulled would not.
Yeah, nothing I pulled like.
So did you just pull up your command and bust out a CMA or?
Nope, we ended up just having a conversation about fishing for about 20 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. You sold yourself.
Yep.
I know what you did. Like,
Literally, it was
we can't
like.
talk about the information, but we can talk about me.
Yeah, literally, I was like, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I pulled comps, and those comps are completely wrong for your house. And he goes, oh, that's fine. I was like, all right, cool. As long as you're out of that. I was like, well, like, what's your, and then it just became like a curiosity, right? What we talk about all the time. Like, okay, well, tell me about the business that you just sold. And he told me about his business that he just sold for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. He's like, yeah, I ran a vet business. I moved here because there was a huge cow population and blah, 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 blah. I like large animals, not small animals. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And I was like, okay, well, what does your like dream life look like now that you sold your business? And he goes, oh, I just want to live in a house that's like, I can walk down to a creek and go fly fish for 2 hours a day. You're like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Like, did I fail at that appointment? Sort of. But you can also like fall back on what you're doing. So you're like, I still got to lead
into an
generate.
an oops into an ah.
Exactly. So, anyways, all that. Don't be afraid of failure because you're gonna fail, and it's fine. And most people don't care. So, I love this is like the 6 competencies of a business. So, lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments. Present to buyers and sellers and get an agreement signed. Show buyers and market sellers. Write and negotiate contracts. Coordinate the sale to closing, and then manage the money. So, do you guys think these are true? I think lead generation is really difficult. Yes or no?
No, I mean, following through with the
You just have to do the thing.
If you think that way, that's difficult. Don't
Yeah.
think that way.
I don't have time to lead generate.
I do.
True or false?
False.
You can lead generate anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere. What did it say? It's an excuse to do your favorite hobbies.
Yep, it's an excuse.
I don't know what to say. Does that ever happen?
I always have something to say. I'm like, yeah, so.
And then I'm afraid of making mistakes.
Yes.
Here's the interesting part though. Like, I don't know what to say. I think about that all the time. Like, I am like obsessed with language. Like, the way that you say words matters so much, and the words that you use. And so, like, I don't know what to say. It's like, that one's the easiest one to get over. Like, just read a couple books on language. It's really fun. So, did I have time to lead generate today? What do you guys think my morning looked like this morning?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Did I, so this morning, I had an excuse. I like read this morning. So I got up I'm gonna walk you through my day and this will make more sense. Got up this morning, I'm a Christian, so I read my Bible for 20 minutes, made coffee for my wife. Went on a 4-mile run, hung out with my daughter for a little bit, got in the office at like 8:30, 8:45, which is a little late for me. And I was like, oh, like I'm already running late, like I was supposed to do that run yesterday, but I did it this morning. And I got up at 6, so I wasn't slacking. I had to get gas on my way in. All these excuses were popping in my mind. I was like, okay, I have a meeting with you at 10. Amy walked to my office and said, hey, Jonathan, can you print these things for me? We had a leadership meeting, just the 2 of us, because everyone else was gone. I talked to Corey for 30 minutes. But do you think I got lead generation in this morning?
Pumping gas?
No, I didn't get any pumping gas.
Oh.
But literally, I was like, I gotta prep for this appointment. I gotta do this thing. I'm sitting here stapling the Ignite packages together, which if you guys want any of these, they're somewhere. Stapling them together. I was like, I can make a phone call while I staple. It's not that hard. I made 5 phone calls. I was at least was gonna get a little bit in. I set an appointment.
Nice.
Like the time, it was funny. I set the appointment and I go, hey, this is Jonathan. I saw your lead came in this morning. He goes, oh, I'm in Georgia. I was like, okay, when are you back? He's like, no, I'm in like Georgia, the country, or something like that.
Oh.
And I was like, all right, well, I'll make this quick because interest is costing me a lot of money. He's like, yeah, it is. I was like, when are you back? He's like, Friday. And I go, are you gonna be tired? He goes, yeah. I was like, do you want me on Monday about talking to your house? He goes, yeah. Great. Monday at 2. Great. That was the phone call.
Done.
2 minutes. Done. But it was like, everything in my body, I was like, I don't have time this morning to lead generate. And it's like the biggest excuse you'll find. Like literally, I will find anything to like not lead generate on certain days.
I got a potential lead from the KW website. Now,
Yeah.
Should I be worried that that's a scam because it's
A few of us got one
What's
late
that?
last week, and it
What
was
was it?
Sean
scammy.
Zhao and
Yep,
Sean.
Yeah,
John.
it's probably
Okay, because I was like, I'm not gonna move forward unless you get on the phone and talk with me. And then he sent me a WhatsApp number, and I was like, okay, bye.
I got that too, and it was the exact same name, so I'm pretty sure it is a scam.
Okay, good. Yeah, right. I was
Yeah.
really excited for all of 0.2 seconds.
I was too.
I
I
knew
know.
it was a scam. I'm like,
It happens all the time. But
wishful thinking.
anyways, as you grow in your business and you do these things, it's like going to the gym. Like I will find any excuse not to go to the gym. I love going. Like I have a home gym. That's how lazy I am. And it's like, and I'll still find an excuse not to go, or I'll find an excuse not to run, or I'll find an excuse not to do these things. And it's like, I used to push back people like, do lead gen in the morning. I'd be like, well, you can do it whenever you want, and you can. But like, literally, if you don't carve out from 9 or 8:30 to 10:30 to do it, or 9 to 11, like I won't get it done. And it's really frustrating because you're like, I did not do my job today if I did not lead generate. And you literally, when you have that mindset of like, I didn't do my job, like I have a coach who will ask me like, did you lead generate this week? And if I say no, he's like, you didn't work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Scott, that's cold. He's like, well, you didn't do the things that are going to lead to your future success. So what got in the way that was more important than that? So what gets in the way of your lead generation most of the time? What's the number one thing that
My
gets in your way?
kids.
No, just say family, usually my
Those
kids.
damn children.
Yeah.
That's fair. Mine. Get your license. That's
Yeah.
another one. How do you create an environment where like the kids or your mind are like not the distraction?
Picking events that you can do with the kids where you can lead generate. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's a great spot.
Yeah.
Talk to Jody. Jody's like, I've sold my first grade teacher kids. I sold my second grade
Yeah.
teacher's kid house.
I
I sold the soccer coach a house.
Yeah. Oh, no.
When you say mine, tell me more about that.
Let's just see, it's not laziness, because I don't think I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I just think it's just more so like, oh my gosh, like, it's overwhelming just thinking about some things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have to talk to people today. It's just like, do I want to talk to people today? I'm technically an introvert, but this business is really just like I talk to myself for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The inner dialogue. It's a real thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh god.
You gotta work on that negative chatter. That's what I had to do.
Right?
For
Oh,
real.
that's crazy.
It's like loud.
With Air Force and stuff, like, I had to be so positive when you were on the flight line.
Oh.
Like, just getting screwed over by, like, production and stuff, or, like, things would go wrong and you have to be positive instead of negative.
It's okay. I'm fine.
I think one thing that really helped me with that, thinking like that, is listen to that Think Like a Millionaire, I think is what it is. I think
Yeah.
Like a CEO podcast with
With GK.
yeah, because just in like the first few episodes where he talks about like starting Keller Williams and like even before he started it and everything, he talks about all these mistakes he made and all these like problems that came up that he had no idea how to solve, and he like keeps repeating on it. It's like, yeah, I just didn't even think that that would come up. I didn't even think this would be a problem. I didn't think that like he said no. And he's like, I just figured it out like after the fact. Like I had a problem now and I had to deal with it and I learned how to do it and I knew how to do it. And like I think about that almost daily because pretty much every interaction I have in real estate right now is a new interaction. Like I'm
Yeah.
dealing with it for the first time. I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this. Like the subject two we
Yeah.
were talking about earlier, I was like, I'm gonna call this guy. I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about per se.
Per se.
I have like a good idea.
No one really knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm subject to.
I don't have a good idea, but I'm just gonna send it and call him and I'll figure it out and I'll set an
Yeah.
appointment and I'll gather more information in the meantime. Like I'll solve this problem and I didn't know it was gonna come up. I didn't know. And I was
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Because
do
you
it
were
and
just
I'll learn.
focused on the next step.
Yeah.
What comes next?
Yeah.
What's your next step?
Yeah.
Because I think to piggyback off what you were saying, like I will get up in my head like that too if I'm thinking about like the outcome that
Yeah.
I want instead of the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then it puts things into perspective. Okay, just focus on this conversation right now, and
Yeah.
if you're lucky, the sale will come.
Yeah. Gary Keller said this about team leaders, and I've just taken it to my whole life. He said that the team leaders, meaning Chris's role. The team leaders that are winning right now are asking the question, how can I help you the most? So the people who are winning the most in Chris's role and in our role are asking the question, how can I help you the most? And they're just asking that question over and over and over again. So I've taken to my listing appointments and phone calls, it's like, there's an opportunity to help somebody, I think, and it's like, how can I help you? Right, that person with a $1.2 million house, it became, what's your dream? How can I help you achieve that dream? How can I help you, you have this house. How can I help you get rid of this house? Right, like you're just trying to get rid of it. How can I help you? And it's like, typically that's problem solving for someone. He probably doesn't even know subject to exist.
No.
So he doesn't know if you're an expert on it or not.
Yeah.
Right, because he's never heard of it.
Yeah.
And so even you bring it up, it makes you sound like an expert.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, I have to do some more research on it, guess what? Most reasonable people go, oh, he is trying. He's trying to help me. And so I think approaching that of like, oh, I don't have to have this conversation with people. I just get to ask people, how can I help you today? And it just changes your whole mindset of like, it's not sales, it's not anything. Like the opportunity is service. And the way that we ask for that opportunity is how can I help you?
Yeah, there's nothing better than getting help.
Yeah, like who doesn't want help from somebody? Who's like,
Totally.
oh, what's wrong with you? You ask me like, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are never like, you dirtbag?
You want to help?
Yeah, and some people like you can say it in a negative, like there's just so many ways to like ask people how you can help, and you ask them in different ways. But like even expired, it's like, okay, your house didn't sell. Okay, how can I help you then sell your house? What can I do to help you achieve that dream that you have? So I've thought about that a lot, and like even at like my church, I've asked that question like, how can I help? And they're like, now I'm running like freaking games for 4th and 5th graders on Thursday nights, right? It's like you see a need, fill a need, and now, but like that opportunity turned to like, how can I help more? And now I'm like leading our community group ministry, and like that question just is always being asked in my mind. Okay, this is not how I run my business, just to be totally honest with you, but we can do this activity if you guys want. So let's take the total number of contacts in your phone. Everyone pull out their phone when that happens. My phone's somewhere else. So I was so focused on you guys, I put my phone down. How many contacts do you have in your phone?
204.
204.
701.
701. So take that number, 701, and do times 0.81%.
567.
0.081.
56.7.
56.7. Do you know all those people in your phone?
I know all of them. I've met all of them. Yes.
Like, would you say like if I called most of these people, they would pick up?
75%.
Okay. How many did you have back there?
542.
201.
This is a new phone.
Okay.
It's not 100. Yeah.
Graham?
15.
15.
Yeah.
Are
You
you
have
for
15
real?
contacts in your phone?
And 2 of them are your parents.
Mom, Dad.
Exactly.
I have 13 other friends. You're in the military, bro.
Lucky 13.
So I wish I would have known, because I had like so many other, and then I got back yesterday, and then I was like, I'm deleting everyone. But like it was.
Graham!
He's like, I am starting a new life.
Yeah. That's pretty
Too
much.
bad I need all of you in this
Yeah.
new life.
I probably had more like
Find an old phone.
60
Pull up those
yesterday.
contacts.
60. Go find those 60
You need
contacts.
to
Yeah.
Control Z that, bro.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I can.
Or shake it up or something.
Yeah.
You don't
I
have
might
an
have my
old
friend just
phone?
send me his contact list.
Yeah. Or do
Yeah,
that.
do something.
Or get on Facebook and just go find everyone.
Yeah.
Social media.
So if you did that, so 0.81% times your database, and then potential referrals in your database times 0.10. So you take those two numbers, you add it up, and it's like potential 45. Here's where I push back against this a little bit on the math, and I know it's like true math, but it's like most, I think millennials, my age group of people, I have like 1,000 people in my phone, and I know like 30 of them, right? Like, it's like, here's some people from college. I was in a college class with one time with, and they're in my group.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could call those people, but it would be a very weird conversation about like, hey, you live in Oklahoma still, and my name's Jonathan, looking to buy or sell real estate. We had this one class together. You could make that phone call. If I lived in Oklahoma, I'd be way more willing to make that phone call.
Yeah.
But it's even weirder doing that. So you can do that average commission. What was your math on that?
Well, I don't know, cause I got down to the second line, but what am I taking in times in 0.10?
Total number of contacts. Oh, you-
C, on C.
C?
potential referrals and-
so it's your
What's this number again?
that number again times
It's
0.10.
your number of contacts.
It's 10%.
No.
So I should.
And then you add those together, and then you have an average commission of 5,000, which is very low. I guess if you have referrals, 5,000 is not too far off.
Average commission.
10 grand.
10 grand.
So 10
But how many people in your phone do you think you like know if you called Ashley? Would they like be like, oh yeah, I know you?
Well, let's see, I've already done this, I've played this game already, and,
How'd it go?
pretty
14.
good, actually, and the ones that didn't remember me,
Remembered you kind of fast?
no.
Oh.
Not at all, I wish I could be like, yeah, they did, no. I just like got to know them through
Yeah.
texting, because a lot of the people in my phone are around my age, so they're okay for texting, you know what I'm saying? And then one turned into a phone call and referral,
Nice.
Nice.
so,
Nice.
yeah.
I love referrals.
Yeah,
I
I
love the
don't know
mailbox
if the
money.
referral's going anywhere. I mean, like, how do you follow up on that shit?
On a referral?
Talking to the agent.
I was just asking him about this, so,
What do you mean how you follow up on it?
like, so,
Alright, I'm the agent you referred the person to. Call me.
what?
Just call me.
Call the agent you gave them to.
Call the agent you gave him to.
Oh, okay.
Did they sign a referral?
Or I'll be that person. Ring ring.
Oh, hi, my name's Ashley Jones.
Hey Ashley, this is Jonathan. I referred you Mickey Mouse the other day. How's it going with him?
Oh, pretty good. I just sent them over to my preferred lender.
Oh sweet, how's that going?
Really good. I'm following up on that tomorrow morning. They have a meeting today at noon.
Sweet. Well, if you need anything, I know they're really excited to work with you. I got really good feedback. If you need anything from me or from them, feel free to reach out. But we'd love to stay in touch if you need anything.
Okay, wonderful. I sure will.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right, like I don't think you have to make that phone call complicated.
right.
They don't care.
Well,
You referred him to somebody.
right.
You can follow up. That's fine.
Okay.
Did you
Cool.
Did you send
But you were saying something that there's something in the command where they can
Did
like.
you do it through command or they KW?
Oh.
I did not do it.
Are they not a KW agent?
Yes, they
Or are
are.
they? Okay,
They
so
are.
if they are, you should be able to find them in their referral database.
Okay,
And
So
cool.
you go to the referrals, you can search on the map, and you can like type in the area. You can just type in their name in the area, find them.
Cool.
You can add them as a referral partner. There's like two
Uh-huh.
options.
I've had somebody do that to me
Mhm.
recently.
Yeah, so you can add them to your
Uh-huh.
referral like partner list, and you
Yeah.
can also click like send referral, like sending them an actual client.
Okay.
So add them to your database, like add them like add referral partner,
Uh-huh.
and then put the referral information in like an invitation. So
Mhm.
you already did it. It seems like just offline.
Sweet.
So just put all the information in the little form that
Mhm.
command gives you, and then
Uh-huh.
it'll populate in command. So you can always just go back, click on my referrals, and it'll show all the ones that are active, the expired
Cool.
ones, the
Yeah.
closed
Cool.
ones,
Nice.
and there's a little like update little section right on it, and it'll say that agent can then update where they are in the process. So it'll show you like they're in the appointment phase, they're in the
Cool.
lender phase, closing phase, like whatever, and then you can just
Nice.
text agent and be like, hey, I just added you to my referral database,
Uh-huh.
and I sent you the referral through commands, that way we can like track it on there.
Cool.
Could you just like
Nice.
throw in updates when you
Yeah.
move forward with that
I'm
client, so I
such a
can
micromanager,
see
that's
it, and then we don't have to call each other all the time.
Yeah, or just text. Yeah. How's it
Yeah.
going
Does
with?
she still need to do the referral contract that you sent me?
So you, from my understanding, the actual contract that, from my understanding, if you do it in command,
Yeah, I just did
you're
it.
good.
Yeah.
I've
That was
had,
because it was an outside client, or outside.
yeah, so
If
that
that's
was
why
a-
KW you can't do that.
That was a
I-
Giles Scott agent that I sent
Oh,
those
okay.
to, but I did have one KW agent who I did it through command, and she was like, can you also send me the contract like digitally? So I did that too. I was like, whatever, sure.
Fantastic. Okay.
It depends on how much you trust the person too. Like, I think through command's fine, but it doesn't.
I don't know if it's like legal.
Also, if you have a
or not,
TC, they're gonna send it that way anyways. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, the
Yeah.
TC will be like, I'm gonna get an actual signed copy. So,
Okay.
the nice part about command and having a contract is you just like you don't have like an awkward conversation about like, what did we agree to?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it shows
Right.
it shows it in command too. When you send the referral, you like put in all the information for the client, and then you put like the location they're buying, and like you put in the referral fee in there, and then when they accept it, like they're accepting like that referral fee too, and it's like still in there in the records and everything. So, like I said, I don't know if that's like legally binding. Like technically, they could screw you out of it and just
I
not
don't
pay
think
it.
so.
I don't know.
Because it's still
but
offered and accepted.
that's what my thought process was. But
So,
Thank you.
yeah, but don't be, like, you're a partner on that.
For real. Okay.
Choose a referral for you.
yeah,
I wish.
I'll give you that.
No, I need the reports.
So, I don't know why it just says your database here. It's your insurance, your database. It's fine. Any ahas so far? Does anyone know what aha stands for?
Agents help me.
Some-
Ah!
What is it again?
Agents helping agents.
Yeah,
Any ahas so far?
that's so clever.
I know, right?
I was like, yeah, it's like a big moment. He's like, no.
No.
I like
Agents
your-
helping agents.
I like your just the how can I help you most.
Yeah.
Like I love that.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what's interesting about my business. I am like mainly online leads, which
I know.
it's like all online leads. I like
You
love them.
pay so much.
Thank you, Jeff. Not if you're good.
Really? But doesn't okay. Lunch.
Can we talk about that during this?
That's what I'm
Yeah,
gonna say.
absolutely.
Is
So,
that with the Z-Buy?
here's what everyone. Yeah, I use eBuyer. Go get it. It's like $275 a month, if you can. And then the Gold and ZBuyer,
$2.75.
Yeah, that's what I was
so
thinking.
$275 a month. Don't go get it. Go run Facebook ads. You can get them for like $5 a lead. If you're doing online leads, you're gonna pay. No matter how you run your business, you're gonna pay somewhere somehow, right? You can do an event-based business. Guess what? You're gonna pay somewhere somehow.
Yeah.
You could do a farm. You're gonna pay somewhere somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You do online leads. You're gonna pay somewhere somehow. You do sphere of influence only. You'll pay less maybe than what I'm doing, but if you do it well, you're still taking people to lunch. Like there's still a whole process with that.
Yeah.
So functionally, like let's just go over this model, right? So your database is lead capture. So I know in my business I capture leads 3 spots. I have Facebook leads that I run, and I'll run like $100 a month on Facebook leads. I'm not the best at converting them at the moment because I haven't taken the time to call them. But I still do it. I have expireds that my virtual assistant puts into my database every day, where she goes and looks at the expireds and puts them in my database. And then I have ZBuyer. ZBuyer, literally, I was at dinner with a guy out of New York. He sells 600 homes a year. It's crazy.
What?
He looks at me and he goes, what are your leads? I'm like, I do Facebook leads, I do expireds, I do this. And I do ZBuyer. He goes, you're running your real estate business like the hardest way possible. I'm like, I know, but I enjoy it. So he was like, we had ZBuyer for 2 years and I didn't close 1. I was like, I closed 6 this year.
So did he share his little secret sauce or what?
No, he's dweeb.
Ah.
So, right, you capture the lead, they go in your database. Let me see if there's another slide on this.
Did you say he uses Zillow?
Yeah, he uses Zillow.
How do you score it? What do you mean?
Well, out of New York, he gets like 100 Zillow leads a month for like
pop
$1,000
up.
bucks.
It's like where you pop up or like on a listing on Zillow.
So like the Johnson team, Zillow Flex, which is all you can do here in the Springs. So they get leads that call them functionally, or call Zillow, and then Zillow connects them here. But it's like a 40% referral fee.
That's what I was saying.
Kind of like Op
Paying
City.
out a lot.
Sure, you're paying out a lot on those. ZBuyer averages like, my average cost per ZBuyer lead, $275 divided by 120. What's the math on that? I get 120 leads a month from
What'd
ZBuyer.
you say it was? 275 divided by what?
120.
2.29.
$2 leads. Pretty cheap
Okay.
for name and number. Or you can just go like, heck, you can go buy Lane Voice, which will give you expireds in like neighborhoods for like a couple cents a lead. Whatever you want to do, right? Like you're just getting names and numbers and everything else. And then you're putting them in a database. Right, so they fill out the form or they put their information to the MLS and you get it through Forewarn, whatever way possible. So then you start forming relationship. And that's all that matters, right? So I know that every conversation I have, most people fill out a form are 6 to 12 months away from transacting, right? Like it's a long time. But here's what happens, is they fill out that form and they're still 6 months away from transacting, minimum. I love what Derek called this, I'm stealing from Derek. He goes, at that point, they're a rock star. Everyone's reaching out to them. They're getting calls, they're getting text messages. Like, if they're putting their information in one spot, they're putting it like everywhere. I'm like kind of convinced of this theory. Like once you start looking, it's like it becomes an obsession, but you're still 6 months away from buying. Do you know what the average, so ZBuyer has a list that's 3 to 6 months old that they send you like old leads from. I call those leads and they're gold. Do you want to this is the simplest script ever. Who wants to be my script partner or practice
Your
partner?
script partner.
All right, Ashley, ring ring.
Hello.
Hey, Ashley, this is Jonathan from Keller Williams. Hey, about 6 months ago, you said you're interested in like a cash offer on your house or like to know your home's value. Was curious to know, what did you, update my records, what did you do with that information? Or what did you do with your property?
Yeah, I'm still just sitting on it. I'm just, I don't really know where to go from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me more about that. Are you thinking about selling it then? It sounds like you're sitting on it. What's the fear there?
Yeah, a cash offer would be nice. My daughter lives in California, and I just want to move closer to her.
Yeah, absolutely. What would be the ideal time to get closer to her?
I would love to be out there for Christmas.
Okay, cool. Well, what are you doing Tuesday at 2? Would love to go over kind of your home's value and our process of selling your house.
Yeah, sure, that sounds good.
All right. See you Tuesday at 2. Because that was like my phone call this morning, right? It was like quick and to the point.
Oh.
But they're 6-month-old leads, and so they haven't been called for 3 months by most agents. Or like leads in your database who haven't been called for 3 to 6 months. It's like those are the
So now
goal.
rewind a little bit. You said you are calling on the leads that are 6 months old?
Yeah, those are the best ones.
Yeah.
Because they went through this rock star phase where everyone called them, then they got really tired of hearing from agents. And then, like, you still call those leads, like new leads that come in, call within the first 5 minutes, do everything you possibly can to get in contact with them. But then have those, like the 6-month-old leads are the ones who are actually a lot closer to interacting than the new ones are.
How do you know they're 6 months old?
It says it when they come in.
Yeah.
Or the expireds that are like, I was just at Bill Howe and Land Voice, which is a huge data company, they're like, actually we're seeing a ton of success with agents who are calling like 1 to 2-year-old expired listings. Like everyone's calling the new ones, but no one's called this 1-year-old expired in a long time.
Yeah.
So they're not getting 10 or 15 phone calls, they're getting you.
Yeah, I know, like 0.
0, yeah. And there's not a ton in MLS, but it's like those are phone calls worth making.
Yeah.
And so like we have this mindset of like, oh, like, and it's like, no, like just, but you get in conversations with them, right? So I know it's gonna still be a while before they interact. So they fill out a lead form, you're gonna form a relationship with somebody, and like you never know, like I go back and forth on like average time you should spend with the lead before you set an appointment. I was at this conference and they said the best ISAs are spending 7 to 11 minutes on the phone with the prospect before setting the appointment.
What does ISA mean?
Inside sales,
Oh, yeah.
which is you until you hire one, right? When you call that lead, you're doing inside sales,
Okay.
because you're not outside, right? I don't know why we taught it that way.
I'm in the
You're
office
inside
today.
You're in the office, yeah. So you're inside versus when you're like outside doing stuff. The bigger you can make this top funnel, the more people you get into your database, and the more you interact with it, the better. Like this is where it all becomes like a game, right? Like I don't have time to put expireds in, but my virtual assistant, she can put those in.
So,
You guys probably have time right now. Forewarn it, put them in.
the
It's
shit
easy.
roll downhill. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're in your database, and you're gonna follow up with them. So you form a relationship with them. Contact, strengthen existing relationships. Cultivate contacts for conversion. Interactive and needs-based offerings. So everyone can go get this. Do you know the #1 most opened email in real estate days?
Lenders.
Nope.
Oh, God, I'm so sick of them. I love them at the
Do you
same
know what?
time.
Do you know what everyone loves looking at more than anything else?
Listings?
Listings. You own a house. What do you love looking at?
The kitchen.
I own a house. What do I like to look at? My neighbors' houses and how much they
Neighbors'
are.
houses.
Yeah.
Sure. what do you love even more than looking at how much your neighbor's house is?
How much my house is.
How much
and
your
how
house
much it
is
went up.
worth and how much it's going up.
Sure.
So My Home IQ, get with Tim Chase at 719. He
My
can get
home
you an account.
IQ, I just got an invitation for this.
You should get it and you should use it nonstop. I mean, I have like 90 something people in here. I use it a lot more because I've started to like incorporate it into texting.
So you just like shoot people in your database like text periodically saying like, hey, your house has gone up like this much this month or something, or
It can be as simple as like, this is literally how I like run most of my business and it's dumb.
Is
Once-
through my home IQ?
No.
Oh. I'm like, Jesus,
I
I'm
send
really
out
missing the boat.
Once about every quarter, when I feel like it, or when I set some appointments, I have like 2,500, 3,000 people in my database. So again, slow build, right? You just take leads and slowly put them in. It's been 3 years. I send a text message that says, hey, this is Jonathan. What happened to your house?
What? What do you mean what happened to my house?
Did you sell it?
Not yet. Why? Am I supposed to be selling it? It's not on the market.
Are you thinking about selling it?
Well, it depends. How much is it worth now compared to when I bought it?
Hey, here's this report. We should meet.
Sounds good.
Right?
And
Like,
sinker,
there's
baby.
no like everyone's like, oh, real estate's coming, but I'm like, guys, like this is literally like, because guess what? I meet with some people, and then I forget about them.
What happened
Because
to your
I'm not a
house?
great-
That's a good one.
What happened to your house?
I'm like,
I would
Sometimes they're like,
I would be so mad at you.
why?
Cause I'd be panicking like, oh my god, did something happen? Like, did a pipe burst? I need to run home.
Sure, a little excited is fine to induce into your, especially people you don't know.
Mass text to your database.
Or like,
911.
sometimes I'll say like, what happened to your house? Did you sell it? Or what happened to your house? Do you want to know its value? Right? Like anything along those lines. Some people freak out a little bit. Huh? What happened to your house?
Oh my gosh, if someone asked me that, I'd be like, what do you mean what happened to my house?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I know. And then you're interacting with them, and then you're.
That's the hook. That's the hook.
Negatively.
That's the hook.
That's
Yeah.
the hook.
Because you get them to text back, and then
And
you're
then
a
the
real
line
different
is you
person.
saying, what do you mean what happened to my house? And then the sinker is what he has to say.
6 months ago, you want to know its value, so I assumed you were selling it. I don't know. I just make it up from there. So
Okay.
you're not fear
All
mongering.
about it.
If I got the text, I'd be like,
Harvest.
what do
fear.
you mean? Fear? Hey, logic makes people think. Emotions make people
Well, you know,
act.
as they say, the two main things that people will spend money on is pain, you know, and problem solving,
Mm-hmm.
and then pleasure.
Yeah.
So.
But pain, you're a lot more likely to try to keep your $100 than to make $100. Right? It's like that parable in the Bible that's like, oh yeah, you have like these talents, and the person who like goes like, most people are scared and they go hide it. Like that's why the whole thing's set up this way. So yeah, it's like a really simple like formula there. Like generate leads can be like a bazillion different things, right? It's running an open house, right? That's generating a lead. You have to get them to put their name and number down and their email and hopefully what they're looking for, and then setting the next appointment. But it's not like a complex, that's just a way to capture leads. And then you just follow up with them forever and ever and ever and ever.
And have another house up the road to show them.
And I don't know, yeah, you go do that too. But there's 1,000, but like if you get them in your database, they might be, where's John at? John had a buyer who was in, who came to the open house he did for me on Saturday. He's like, yeah, they want to buy in January. It's like, really, they should start looking now. But put them in your database so that they start getting houses and they start getting open rates. And like, so anyways, back to My Home IQ, because I got off track. If someone's like, hey, I'm interested in buying or selling or whatever, I had a guy, I was up in Woodland Park. I have like a sign on my door in Woodland Park and it says like, find your home's value. Fills out the lead. Call him, text him like 3 times, and I know the guy. And I'm like, why is this guy not freaking answering my phone? I see him at the farmer's market, and he goes, Jonathan, you've called me like 7 times. I'm like, yeah, bro, I have.
Why aren't you picking up?
Yeah.
I'm worried.
And he goes, oh yeah. He's like, this is where we're at. We're thinking about moving. He was like, do you know what? That home value report you sent me really helped me understand what my home was worth and what the equity I had in it. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy I provided value to you from the very beginning.
Well, why isn't he picking up the phone?
I don't know why I didn't pick his phone, but I talked to him in real life, so even better.
Does it save you the hassle of doing comps, or
Nah,
is it pretty accurate?
accurate enough. It's like,
Accurate schmaccurate, you know?
so, it's an online tool. So this is what I tell people. This is a really easy script. When they're like, I just want to know its value. Did you get that all the time? I just want to know my home's value. All right, great. Tell me more about that. What are you looking to do? And they go, well, I'm thinking about selling. I just want to know what it's worth. And it's like, do you want like an expert real estate opinion on your house? Meaning that I swing by for 15 minutes and tell you what it's worth? Or do you just want like an online report with like a range? And that really judges where they're at, like on the parameter of whether they're thinking about
Serious,
selling.
yeah.
Yep. So if they're like, no, just an online report will do, then I send it to them, and it's like more accurate than Zillow, but it's still a made up
Yeah.
number. And I tell them that like this is a good range for what your house is worth.
And when you wanna like show your expertise, because you want them to see you as a real estate expert, do you, like me personally, I would think that I would approach them with two different numbers. I would say, this is what your house would sell for as is. This is what your house would sell for if you were to take and do these three things. Then you could probably make another 20,000 more. And isn't there an app, this is my real question, that will show you what is worthless to fix or what will bring value to your home?
So maybe there's an app. I'm not sure.
There is.
Okay. Right, kitchen and bathrooms is where your money's at.
Kitchen and bathrooms.
Always.
Okay.
Now, in today's market,
Kind of hard to predict those things because you don't know where the market's going to
do
go.
you know where the market's going to go?
Okay.
So, like, if you're
So
thinking
maybe
about
just
selling,
avoid those conversations if you really want to be an expert.
I avoid the price conversation about as long as humanly possible.
Say that again?
I avoid the price conversation. This is not a good rule for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy talking about price. The way that on Something You Sold, the way that you run comps is like, I run comps when we're looking at photos.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I need to know that like, this is kind of your minimum that you're willing to sell for, and that falls in that range. I'm starting to change that conversation to like a price, like 3 ranges of like how long, because now we actually have data of like, if your house is really well priced, it's gonna sell in the first weekend or second weekend. If we price too high, it's gonna sit this long. If it's priced way over high, it's not gonna sell. 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago when I got in, you could just list it wherever, and the
And
market
it'd
would
sell.
eventually, the
Right.
market would catch it. So the price didn't matter as much as it does today. Today it's like, hey, price is the most important thing. Let's talk through it. But I want them to be bought into the price that we select. And I want them to understand that, I heard this the other day too at this conference. There's 3 things involved in the real estate transaction. There's price. Who determines price?
The seller.
Wrong.
Well, the market. Sorry.
The
market.
buyer determines price.
The market.
Oh,
will do
the
it.
offer.
The market. Well, the buyer does.
The
There the
buyer
market.
decide to
Well, yeah.
buy.
Like it doesn't really matter. Like I can come up with comps all day for like why the market should support this price,
Sure.
but the buyer determines the price
Mhm.
because that's what they're willing to offer for it. Who determines? So what do you, as the seller, then what do you control? What does the seller control in the transaction?
Terms.
Yeah, not much. I mean, the seller
Whether
is
you would
is the
accept that
about the
price.
buyer.
Condition.
Condition.
So the seller controls the condition of the house.
So the first thing, what was it?
First thing, buyers control the price. You can control if you accept it or not, but they control the price that they're willing to offer. You control the condition. So the nicer condition, the more likely the higher price you will get. Doesn't also mean true, but like that's the one thing you can control 100% is the condition of the house.
And then 3,
And then the third thing, what does the real estate agent control?
the trim, the papers.
Sure, part of it. But what do we control in the actual like going under contract piece of it?
It's like the process.
Marketing.
Marketing, duh.
Duh. Right? I like heard this and I was like, gosh damn it, I'm an idiot. I was sitting in the same room and I was like, well, that's not true. So it's like after you understand the rules that you're in, and then honestly, the list price is the biggest marketing tool that you have. So like help me help you determine the price that we should list at. Because it's really a marketing thing more than anything else. Because ultimately the buyer is going to determine the price. We just want to be priced appropriately.
Right.
Yeah, because you're
And
gonna really
we'll
screw
better.
over if you just overprice it from the get-go, and then it's just gonna sit there forever, or just not sell at all.
Yeah. And you
It's
can
like, oh.
really
Really screwed
them up if you go too low. I mean, but the nice part is if you go too low, the market will still put it at the right price point. If it's really too low.
Right. Yeah, because everybody's gonna want that cream puff.
Yeah, because you did an awesome job marketing it. So, unless you're like, even if you're way off, buyers are pretty savvy. They'll figure it out. So, I've only had one listing agent that I got mad at for price. I called this guy, we put an offer in, and I go, hey man, like it's priced really well. I was like, how did you, it was in Woodland Park, so I know the market really well up there. And I go, how did you determine that price? He's like, I don't know, man, I just picked it. And I was like, that's literally what he said to me. And I go,
And you seriously thought it was priced well?
it was priced, he probably cost his sellers $35,000.
Dang.
Wow.
Because we put an offer in, we went 20 over asking. And I told it was like a friend of ours and Cody investor, two of my people put offers on. And we went 20,000 over. And I go, hey, he's like, they want it gone this weekend. And I go, great, that's fine. We're going 20,000 over. Let me know if you get any more. And let me know, like, we're willing to go, like, wherever you want to go. Like, just call me. Doesn't call me. I call him 2 or 3 times. Never picks up. He sold it for 25,000 over asking. But I'm like, dude, you could have.
And not to you, to somebody else.
To somebody else, yeah.
Even when you told him you go.
Yeah, I didn't put an escalation in because I thought we had a good relationship, and then he was just a dweeb.
Was theirs cash and yours wasn't, or something?
Ours was a cash 7-day close.
Wow.
No inspection.
Okay, so
Wow.
some sort of.
Goodness
Sorry.
gracious.
And I told the guy, I was like, dude, we're not backing out of this deal. Like, we're going to contract, we're good. But someone had an escalation, so they went 5,000, and I was like, I called them afterwards, and I was like, dude, you know we would have went higher, right? And he goes, yeah, but they just wanted. I was like, yeah, dweeb. I was so mad. But anyways, the house should have gone for like $425. It sold for $375.
Wow.
Comes with a supporting $425.
Happy buyer.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, bro.
Mad buyer's agent. So yeah, you can screw someone on price, but if you're a good agent, he could have taken that 30 grand higher if he would have played it right. So negotiation matters. Okay. How are you guys getting leads right now? What's your guys' lead
Yeah.
sources?
So, like, I just pulled in a bunch of leads on Friday going to, I was a chaperone at my son's field trip. And I
Nice.
PTO, so I did their fun run that morning. And, yeah, so that was really successful for me.
That's
Just,
cool.
like, doing activities where other successful people are doing activities.
Yeah.
Mine's really just from like my database and expireds, and that's pretty much been it so far. I'm like looking at these scheduled events that are coming up, and I'm like planning to attend a few and trying to be like a part of a few.
Like through
I'm
the
trying to
military?
get into
Like through the military events?
military and just like around town.
Cool.
Trying to see like what it takes to set up like booths at certain places, or like looking at the audience of like who's going to these certain events, and trying to find a way to tailor my like presence there towards them. So that's like something I'm looking into now. Is I'm trying to get more face to face with just whoever, because
Yeah.
I feel like that's where I've had more success, is just talking to people rather than like random cold calls. So I'm still doing the calls, but I'm trying to look for opportunities to like, get in front of people. So
I will.
hate cold calling. I
I
really
don't
do.
hate
I
it,
mean,
man.
I hate it too.
feel like I'm a
I
better
hate
person.
the look on your face right now too. You're like, Ashley, did you say that?
I
Yes, did.
I
It
absolutely hate
sucks.
cold calling too.
Do you do it?
Do what I love.
Do you do it? Do you cold call?
No.
I knew it because you buy all those leads.
No, I do cold call.
Oh, you do.
Let's change your definition of what
misunderstood.
let's change the definition of what's a cold call.
Calling somebody and trying to harvest information from somebody you don't know.
Okay. What's your definition of a cold call?
Just someone you don't know or never talked to, and you're just calling them.
Someone you never talked to. Okay.
Wait, where
Is
do you
that-
get their numbers from?
Is that a cold call from?
Forewarn and all that.
Huh?
Oh, she's asking where do you get their numbers from. I was like, forewarn.
Yeah,
Forewarn. Okay, let's say that you.
What is forewarn?
I'll show you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. what it is.
Yeah, that's fine. You're good. You're like a week into this thing.
Yeah.
Where do you cold call at?
Wait, what?
Where do you get your numbers from?
Military people.
Military people.
But I don't
What?
know.
Okay. This is how I'm gonna define cold call. This is a cold call. Me picking up Forewarn, which is our phone book, and just like picking random people and calling them. That's a ridiculous way to run your business.
I agree.
You can do it. Absolutely. Ridiculous way to run your business.
Amen.
Here's a better way to do it. This is how I think about the calls that I make. Somebody fills out a form, a Facebook lead, a Z-Buyer lead, an expired. They have raised their hand saying, I want to transact real estate.
Yeah.
Haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
So me, being a real estate professional, calls them or texts them and says, hi, my name is Jonathan. Can I help you transact real estate? Is that a cold call?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, because you don't know them, right?
Yes, I do.
Well, I mean,
I
kind
know
of.
their address, and
Yeah.
I know they're looking to buy and sell real estate.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What else do I need to know about them?
I don't know, like, what's their favorite color?
Why does that matter?
Like pizza?
Do I need to know that the buyer help them sell, transact real estate?
What?
Do I need to know that to help them buy or transact real estate?
No. So what you're saying is you separate it into like a cold call is not knowing their intent, like if they even are they even interested
Yeah.
in buyer selling, versus
Yes.
let's call it a warm call or whatever the hell.
You know.
Is you already know that they have intent, so you don't consider it cold calling more.
Yeah, it's not a cold call.
Okay.
It's hello, you raise your hand saying, I want to transact real estate.
And
I am here to help you transact real estate.
where do you get that from? Like,
The Forewarn is an app that you will get a link for once you get your license.
Yeah,
Okay.
They'll send you, hey, welcome, here's your nurse info, and here's this, that.
It's just like a search platform, so you can search people's names or other information. It comes up with like
Yeah.
addresses, phone
Yeah.
numbers,
We'll
stuff
wait
like
for
that.
a free membership, otherwise they'll make you pay for it.
I'm assuming cold call came from the time period when there was actual phone books.
Yeah, and like you actually made a
Yeah,
cold
right.
call. But it's like when I get on the phone, I'm not
Cold
thinking,
calls don't really exist anymore.
yeah,
The literal meaning.
yeah.
Okay,
Like
that's what
you're
I was
not,
saying.
yeah, like you're not
Like,
making
where
a
would you
cold
get a
call.
random phone number from? That's what I was.
A phone book.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and it came from like business, right? Like in the business world, I was an ISA for PFS Web, and I like literally just it was like I would go onto a company's website and look up everyone like their VP of marketing and be like, hey, my name's Jonathan. Do you want e-commerce solutions? And they'd be like, what is that? Right? Like that's a cold call. That's a hard call. If you want really hard phone calls to make, call other agents and try to recruit them. Those are the hardest phone calls to make.
Didn't seem like it was that hard for you.
You are new, it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, those
But
are.
technically, I was already with another brokerage.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Exactly.
I know, but like that's what like
If he
we have to
said,
get.
I know.
I know. I don't care everyone up. I forewarn people. But we have to get out of the mindset of like I'm making a cold call.
Yeah.
Like that's a dumb way to view making phone calls. Like I never sit down and like I'm gonna make cold calls today. Like who the flip wants to do that?
No, not me.
It sounds miserable.
It is.
And I've done it, and it is miserable. But if you're like, hey,
I really suck at it.
I'm helping people
Yeah.
who have raised their hand saying I want to transact real estate, that's a really easy phone call to make.
Mhm.
And it's like, what's the very worst thing that can happen on a phone call?
I'm already working with another agent.
That's fine, that's one of them.
or they hang up like instantly.
They say F you and hang up.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like if
That would be the
that is the
natural
most amount of pain you'll experience in real estate.
Wouldn't it be like making?
Well, there's
it
one other
deposit?
one, and I'll tell you. There's one other one that's more painful. It's the only one that's actually more painful. Is hey Jonathan, I met with you, but I decided to go with another agent. That one hurts.
Yeah.
Did you like have a relationship with them? That's actually a way harder phone call to make than exactly. And you're like,
Totally.
sometimes you like call and it's like funny. I called this one guy. I met with him. He had a house in Paraguay. really cool guy. We ended up talking for like 2 hours. We had this great conversation, and he was like, "This is how I want to set up." He's like, "I think 6% is ridiculous." I go, "Okay, tell me more about that." He's like, "It's not that hard to sell a house, blah 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 blah." And I go, "Okay." I was like,
He's wanting you to take a cut.
"Yeah, he's wanting to get cut," and I said, "Okay, how about we do? I think your house is worth this. I'm willing to bet that. How about we do a sliding commission on it, which don't offer sliding commissions?" And he goes, "I haven't heard anyone else propose that. That sounds like fun. Let's do that." I go, "Okay, great." And then like I call him like after the appointment, and he picks up. He goes, "Hey, Jonathan." I go, "Hey," I think it's Rob or something. He goes, "Man, we liked you the most. We interviewed 3 agents." I go, "Oh, great." I was like, "So what's going on? How do you get this deal rolling?" He goes, "My wife's sorority sister just got her real estate license. We're going with her."
Oh my god!
And you're like, "Dang it!"
Sorority sister, you knew you were out.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
like,
like-
shit, I didn't get an issue.
And we told her the plan that you had. We're gonna do that with her.
Yeah. So it happens. And like I had one the other day, Sandra. She met with one of her house. She had a bear in her house. She was a weirdo. She was a weird person. We met. I had an appointment set up to bring a couple investors over, and then she calls and cancels and goes, "Hey, my daughter who I own the house with has a realtor here that we're gonna go with." And I was like, "Darn it, you could have told me that from the get-go." It happens. So, anyways, those are the worst. But like the actual like, you don't know them and they say no thank you. Like if that's the most pain you feel, how bad is that?
That's not bad. That's
I
not
mean,
bad at
it's
all.
pretty bad, but.
It's not that bad.
Not that bad.
Like if you think about like going back to Gary's quote, right?
Sure.
Like that fear of failure is much bigger than the fear of lead generating. Because lead generating, the worst thing that they say is no.
Yeah.
And do you not hear when I say no? Talk to me later. Right?
I
No,
don't
thank you
take
for
no
now.
for an answer. You
I don't say
not
no.
right now.
I go, "I'll talk to you later." Like I'm not selling my house right now.
That was cool.
Will you be selling in the future?
Yeah, chances
Yes.
are they're not gonna stay in the house forever and dying. Like,
Yeah,
It's not right now.
they're not going to.
When you said it, I was.
No's not right now. Alright, I got off script here. But the lead generator, like it's all mindset, right? Like get rid of cold calls, don't call them that, just call them calls. And like literally I'm like, here's the other fun part about it, is if you do set the appointment, then you get to go have a lot of fun. Like getting to the appointment is really flipping fun. Like if you enjoy real estate, running appointments, like I get to do that all day long. Like you go to someone's house, you get to talk about like their house, which is really cool. And then you just ask them questions about it, and then you run the appointment, you tell them what it's worth and your marketing plan and all that stuff. And like those are fun conversations to have. Or if you're meeting with a buyer, you're like, "Let's dream about the house you want to buy. This will be fun."
That's the fun part for me.
Right? Like that's the
'Cause
fun
I
part.
love shopping. So
Yep,
I'm like,
you love shopping. Let me help you spend $500,000.
Yes.
Let me help you sell this $500,000
To get
asset.
started.
Yeah, to get started. Let me help you spend $500,000. That is my job with you. Sounds like fun, doesn't it?
Oh,
Um,
not my money.
it's not my money, but damn, it's gonna be fun. And then you get to negotiate, and that's fun. And like, but all of these things happen with the very beginning, a phone call or a text. And if you can't get over that fear of a phone call or a text, then like, it's gonna be really tough sledding for you.
Okay, you gotta do more like
So
script
how many
practice.
phone calls at the list I should do today? Every day.
It varies. My minimum that I set is an appointment a day. Sometimes that's 3 phone calls, and I'm a lazy bum, and I say that's good. Sometimes that's 300 text messages, automated. But seeing that list up, sometimes it's 45 phone calls.
Did you say 300 text messages automated?
That's how many I send on like a typical. If I'm like lead generating and have set an
Can we use
appointment.
our command to do automated
Mhm.
text?
Wait,
Oh
how do
my
you-
god.
Yeah,
Command is an automated texting platform.
You can do like the smart plans, and you can set up like the recurring ones, and you can type in like who you want to go to, when you want to go to them, like.
You guys, I really must have missed a class somewhere along the
We
way.
haven't done tech training in a minute. The
Yeah.
tech training Thursdays or whatever.
It's because I've been busy, because I've been setting appointments and going on appointments.
Well, that's like.
Right, so
But literally, like I'm telling you, like
with that.
it all starts like, here's the dumb part though. You can go pay for a Zillow lead, and it's going to cost you 40%. Do you have to do to talk to that Zillow lead?
Make a phone call.
Make a phone call.
So the same thing you would do if you didn't.
Yep. Do you do it if you run events?
Well, I love doing events, but I haven't done one yet. I need to get started.
What are you going to do though to invite people to the event?
Make a phone call.
What am I
Send
gonna do
email,
to
send text.
invite
Send a text and make a.
through the command? Hell yeah.
Yes, but you're going to make a phone call and send a.
Text.
What am I going to do with leads that come in? I'm going to make a phone call and send a
Text.
text. It doesn't matter how you run your business. It all starts with I'm going to make a phone call and send a text. Right? Like, it just depends on, like, where your relationship is. Like, sometimes that calls more comfortable than other people, but it's all the same. It doesn't matter how you run your business. I'm going to make a phone call and send a text is how most things get started. So if you just start your day with that, then everything else goes from there. Prospecting versus marketing. What's marketing to you guys versus what's marketing versus prospecting?
Passive versus proactive.
That's like the easiest definition of it.
Yeah.
You just saw it up here.
Doesn't see us shit. I'm like, damn, you're smart.
All right.
She's on my team.
So marketing is money-intensive, passive, long-term results, right? Ryan Serra has a quote that I stole from someone else. I spend 50% of the problem with marketing is I spend 50% of the results I get, I don't know where I got the money from. Like, if I could choose the 50%, then I would do it from there. So, I botched that quote. I'll find it later. Money-intensive, passive, long-term results. So prospecting is time-intensive, proactive, and immediate results. So what's a marketing activity versus a prospecting activity?
Yeah, like putting a ad on Facebook versus going to like, I don't know, like some event going on in town and setting up a booth.
Well, so the cool part about Facebook though is it's
You can prospect.
prospect. It's marketing enhanced by prospecting,
Yeah, right.
or prospecting enhanced by marketing.
There you go.
There you go. I'm not dyslexic, it's fine. So, because if you think about it, like, when I talk about raising your hand, I love getting people to raise their hand and be like, I'm interested in buying or selling real estate. And so, like, running a Facebook ad where they give me the information, I can then prospect to them. Versus if I put my favorite phone call I get, and it's an immediate hang up, is, hi, I work at the golf course, and we have new books coming out. Would you like to sponsor a book for us? Like the little, like, scorekeeper book? You know what I'm talking about?
Are you serious? You get those phone calls?
Like 3 a year.
Oh my god.
I'm like on a list.
I
I must be on a list for like suckers. Because that's gotta be one of the sucker lists right there. So that's like $250. And you're like, yeah, sure. Now
You
Dan.
do it?
No, absolutely not.
I'm like, dang.
There are very few like the amount of, because I look at like Facebook, I look at like marketing stuff all the time because it's one of my passions. So the amount of like Facebook advertisements I get like generated towards real estate agents is crazy. The amount of like get 10 free bookings on this. But like then I'll take the meeting and I'll click the ad and then I'll listen to their pitch. Be like, no, I don't want this. And then they're like, why not? And I'm like, because it's really expensive. There's one in particular I'm talking about. I've set 3 appointments with them, and every time I'm like, nope, it's too expensive. Hang up. No, I don't hang up, but I'm like, oh yeah, I've talked to you already.
Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
don't.
The ROI is not there. Sorry.
It's not there. So yeah, I love prospecting and marketing's fun. So a database is a container that holds the information of your leads and contacts. A smart database, data bank, allows you to have a planned, meaningful communication with your database. So that's where like a smart database goes like, I'm going to text my database once a quarter asking them this dumb question. Or I'm going to send my people to my home IQ where they get an email every 2 weeks. Right? Like you can't just be like, I have 200 people in my database, I'm good. You have to be proactively marketing to it. And the more tools that you can find that help you like push it out yourself where you're not labor intensive doing the marketing, the better. Like the more you can automate, like, you know, my home IQ is automated every 2 weeks it gets sent out. My bi-weekly neighbor nurtures every 2 weeks get sent out.
Zillow homes and stuff.
Zillow Homes. I don't know what Zillow Homes is.
You know, like Zillow. Like
Yeah, Zillow.
Yeah, send them.
If you're curious to know like why Zillow's winning, go download the Zillow app and like click on a bunch of houses and allow notifications and see how many they send you in a day.
Yeah.
It's
It's
I still
crazy.
get
freaking
emails.
wild.
I
I get
know.
emails like every couple days from them from when I was looking for my house I bought like over 2 years ago.
My favorite example of this, for 99 cents, I gave for a free drink at Sonic when I was 16. I gave them my number and I said, I want a free drink. I want a free 32 ouncer. I'll save it 99 cents. I get a text from them every single week being like, hey, slushies 99 cents today. Hey, it's Tuesday burger night. Jiminy Christmas, they made so much money on that 99 cents.
Yeah.
It is wild, but do you know what they've done? They've followed up consistently forever. Right? Like Sonic, America's Drive-In. Freaking A. They get me so much. 99 cents mozzarella sticks. Thank you. But like you can't be overly annoying. Like the amount that other people are, like you can't beat them on the annoying scale. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I said you can't beat like the amount of other companies and how annoying they are, like you can't beat. Like other companies are always gonna be more annoying than you are. Annoying. But do you know what they don't do? They don't call you. Right? Somebody texts me, they don't call me saying, hey, do you have a need for a burger right now? Different business model.
Weird.
So, and this is really important. So leads, people who you have earned the right to at least have a one-on-one conversation with, and then contacts, people you've held a two-way conversation with, and whom you've established a value-based relationship with. Right? So I have a ton of leads, and then I have like, of that 2,500 person data bank, there's probably like 35, 40, 50 that I consider contacts. Where like if I called them today, they'd be pumped to hear from me. So, most people are not. Phone call, email, text message, face-to-face, could it be up? Do you guys have write handwritten notes?
I like handwritten notes. I got some stationery for it.
Yeah, I need to start. I want to start doing it. I just haven't yet.
Ain't bad.
For an example,
Whoa! Where'd you get it from?
Dan Shilton, he's my team lead.
He sent you a handwritten note?
Yeah.
Or he sent you an example of a handwritten note?
Dan, what a man.
Dan is the man. That just has a lot of stick.
He's so cute too.
He's not a bad looking fellow either. I am terrible at handwritten notes, but you should do them. They're really helpful. I love this too. Asking for referrals. I was in Bold last year, and they like made us call every past client and ask for a referral. That's again way more scary. Like I would much rather call a complete stranger than someone I know asking for a referral.
It's been a few years.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's been a few years. I know you hated me throughout this transaction.
But you like your house, right?
I do like house.
Okay.
No. Most people, that's what you think though. But most people are like, Jonathan, how you doing, man? I haven't heard from you. And I'm like, I know. I'm sorry.
But I'm in a class.
But I'm in a class and I have to make this phone call. And like that's literally what I said. I was like, I'm in this competition, so I have to make this phone call. And most people were like genuinely happy to hear from you. Like, surprisingly, there was only one person who was like a little confused about who I was, and that's okay. So I was like, I did help you buy the house. He's like, I know, but I just forgot you for a moment. It's okay, Jeff. It's okay. But asking for that is like immediate business. And surprisingly, people do not care. Like they're like more than happy if they know someone to refer them to you. Lead generation never ends. Best when it's time blocked. Determined by the size of your business. Alright, any ha-has? So far? I'll go back to the aha slide. Ah! Alright. It's my least favorite one. Ashley's not paying attention to me anymore. She got distracted. Okay. Categorizing your sphere of influence. How many of you guys would say you have 700 people in your database? Are they organized at all?
Alphabet.
Yeah, when they have like a rank, next to their name, I know they're military. Which is probably like 500 of them.
I have some exits to get out of my phone.
Why would you delete anyone from your phone?
I mean, we're still friends.
Oh, exes? Okay, that's
I
fine.
mean, you
But
know.
anyone else?
I didn't sell them a house and then delete
Sell them a house and then delete them. Actually, sell them a house, ask for referral, and then delete them.
Yeah.
So this is like,
I'll never forget.
this
the
is
first
like,
real
so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk to Dan. So my business is not built on this at all. But do you know who has the best business that revolves around this?
Dan.
Dan Hillman.
Dan Hillman has a good one. Daniel Patron. Jeez, ask Daniel Patron about his like sphere of influence business.
We should change our.
There's a lot of Dans.
I know.
We're gonna change our names.
Yeah.
Are you Ashley as well?
No.
To Dan?
No, we're Dan.
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dans.
Yeah, we're gonna.
They have like this amazing like database where it's like A clients and B clients and like this is what I do. I don't get it. I just have
I have a
clients.
hot list and a warm list.
Yeah. I
I'm
just-
serious. Like.
yeah, exactly. And so like categorize them, follow up with them, make sure they're there in your database. I don't know why like that has to be there. Change the way you look at things and change. Alright, how do you expand your sphere of influence?
Get out and do more. Quit hanging out in your house and being lazy.
Just ask.
Just say.
Oh. I like my approach better.
See, but like you have a really good approach right now, right? You're like, I'm going to
I do everything.
at
What's
your
going
kids
on tonight?
at your
I'll
kids'
be there.
school. Well, like, but you're like, I'm gonna build a farm at my kid's school.
Yeah, just not in my neighborhood because I drive too fast. I'm dead serious. I thought about that. I was like, shit.
I don't think people.
I just got a new vehicle. They'll never know.
They'll never know it was you driving fast.
What'd you get?
Escalade. It's
Okay.
Spanish.
This is also funny because strengthen casual relationships. It's like be in contact with people. It's like building your sphere. Join groups, like connect with people and similar interests and values. I joined a cornhole league.
Yeah, well, even if it wasn't for the connections,
You can
just
come
for the-
join just for the cornhole.
Like, you need a house to play cornhole?
Yeah.
Those are always the best.
It's always, this is like where I struggle with this a little bit, and this is a mindset thing. So like we're going to church in the Springs. And like Chris, you guys, most of you guys have met Chris Klantz. He was our agent. We like it's probably like a year and a half from the time I met Chris to the time we bought. So Chris and I are like pretty good friends throughout this process. Like he probably showed us, we were terrible clients. Not terrible. We went under contract once, we backed out. We probably looked at another 30 houses before we went under contract again. So we weren't, but that was over the course of a year. So like it wasn't just like, hey, I need to go see like 30 houses right now. It's like over a year. We're moving from here, from Dallas to here. So we relied on Chris a lot. Like, hey, Chris, is this neighborhood good? Is it bad? Blah 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 blah. So when we moved here, like, I referred Chris probably to, I know at least one piece of business that he did not get. It's okay. But I referred him business, and so we joined this church though, and this girl was like, "Hi, I'm Cameron, and I'm a real estate agent." And I go, "That's great." She's like, "Can I get your name and number?" And I go,
No.
"I guess so." So like Lizzie, my wife, I was like, "Yeah, I get it from my wife." And so for like freaking 10 weeks, she called us. Hey, this is what's going on in your neighborhood with real estate. And we're like, Carmen, like we have a real estate agent. We just bought our house. We ain't moving anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like, please stop calling us about real estate. And so like that is like, there's like this tough balance in my mind now. Of like, I don't want to be that person because that's really, really, really flipping annoying.
Yeah.
But like, I
Oh,
want
like,
to.
you don't want to be like Carmen?
Yeah,
Oh.
because think about Carmen. I said I have an agent. We're good with our agent.
And your first phone call, you said that?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Like, hey,
That
we're good with
sucks.
everything. And then also like, you can just be my friend first,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Especially since you met at church.
if you're
it's
building
kinda
like a
weird.
sphere-based business, like
Like
being someone's
salesy.
friend first is way more important.
Yeah.
So like, this is an example. So I'm in a small group of guys. There's 5 of us. One guy in our group, we went under contract on a house together. He decided to back out. But like, I was his friend first, and I was like, he backed out of the contract, and I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, you're still my friend. Like, that is above your like real estate needs and my like need for a commission. Another guy who was like, hey Jonathan, I know you're a real estate agent. I just want to be upfront. I've been working with this guy for like 6 months, a year to find a house. I'm gonna stick with him. I'm like, that's awesome, dude. Let me know if I can be of help anywhere along the way. Right? Like, you have to like put the friendship always before. If you're doing a really strong sphere-based business, the friendship is always before the transaction.
Yeah.
And like, you have to learn to balance that as an agent. And I don't think I'm great at it. I think there's other agents who are like much better at it than I am. But that's like, when I think about sphere-based businesses, it's like, make sure that your sphere knows that you're like a friend. You're in real estate, but you're a friend before you're like this agent who calls 10 times a week being like, hey, here's what's going on in your neighborhood. And it's like, I still have the MLS for my real estate agent because I look at it every single day, so left me on it. Right? Like, Chris is like, I know you go every day on there and look at the MLS. Because he called me, he's like, Jonathan, are you guys? And I'm like, yeah, I like looking at houses, bro. It's fine.
And that's when he recruited you.
Yeah. And then like he took me off and I called him and I go, Chris, can you please put me back on the MLS?
Sure, come get your license.
Yeah, that's how it works. But like those things like really matter to me of like when I'm like at my church or the places like people know I'm in real estate, they know I'm all these different things, but like at the end of the day, if you're like involved in a church or like you're doing kids' school stuff, like, hey, the friendship is over the transaction. If you don't use me, the only time I get annoyed is like if you weren't using agent and then you knew me and then you chose not to use me, but that doesn't happen that often. So referrals, always ask for them. Never fun, always a fearful conversation. People always, they don't mind one bit. I'm building my business on people I know and the people they know. Do you know if anyone, a friend or friend's family or anyone looking to buy or look in this neighborhood? Blah, 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 blah. You can ask for a referral 1,000 different ways.
I need to get better at that.
Yeah, it's like, I think everyone needs to get better at it.
Yeah, that's
I need to get
something
better at it.
I haven't even done it.
Yeah,
So I have not done that yet.
I suck at it. But I like try when I'm doing it. When's the best time to ask for your referral?
When you're making a sale.
When you're in the
Like,
middle of a
in the middle of
transaction.
a transaction. Yeah.
Because it just naturally comes up that you are talking, like it just comes up so naturally when people are buying or selling real estate. Like I just bought my house 4 months ago and I was just telling you guys about it. I'm like, this is what I'm sold! So much fun! Like people love, like when they're in the middle of a transaction, that's all they're thinking about. Like it consumes all of their mind. Because when I'm in the middle of a real estate transaction, that's all I'm thinking about is real estate. And so that's the best time. And like, this is a great example of it. My wife has been on like a very healthy, we've been like have been changing our diet some, just to like more just natural foods and just removing processed foods. So it's been like a 3-month journey. You know what all my friends ask me about now? Hey Jonathan, how's the healthy food eating thing going? I'm like, clearly you talked to my wife. So my wife talked to you about it. You know, like that's just like what you were thinking about, you just naturally talk about. She's talking to the brother last night, like, yeah, we changed to this milk that's out of like Wisconsin versus the store, and I'm like,
Lower
babe,
hormones,
this is too
all
deep.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I know.
So, anyways, as for referrals, they're good. And what, yeah, when you're in the middle of a real estate transaction, that's the best time to ask.
It's the golden hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people love sending referrals. Like way more than you think they do. They like it a lot.
You mean, so when you're like in the middle of a transaction, you mean like when you're under contract and stuff?
Mhm,
or-
yeah. Or if like starting the search, any of that.
Okay.
Anytime's a great time. Right when you close.
Unless you have a
Great
bad
time.
relationship with your person, but maybe not.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta play the room. Right? I had one that just went south.
You know, something that
Sellers
I've
are pissed at
learned
me.
is I will not work with a nickel and dimer. I just can't handle that kind of mentality. Like,
What do you mean by that?
You know, like poor people.
huh? No. I'm okay with working with poor people for sure. I've been there. But like I don't like working with the person who thinks that they know how to save the most money. I've realized that they always have a problem or something could always be better or like I have some friends, okay? This is what I'm thinking about. They really wanted to they want to buy out here in Colorado, and they do videography for the Seventh-day Adventist Church nationwide, and they want to purchase a home out here. But her husband, I swear to God, nickel and dimes everybody, and he will buy a vehicle for like $500 and then fix it up and put a new engine in it and do all this stuff, and then now it's worth like $3,000 and stuff. And sure, that's great, but if I'm doing a transaction with somebody like that, would make it really difficult, I think.
I want to ask for everything.
Yeah.
So I
It's
just
just
want to
like-
be asking for referrals from people like that. I guess that's.
It's just like balancing that. Like every client has their own. Real estate's just full of emotions.
Dude.
There's so many emotions going through people's minds, and you're just like,
I think there's so much money involved. That's why.
It's
Yeah,
the
a lot of
biggest
money.
investment they'll ever make in their
yeah.
life.
And so you just have to
And it's
remember that.
somebody's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2007, just to give you guys a little insight, my parents lost everything. They lost the 40-acre farmhouse that we grew up on and everything to
Yeah.
that recession. And so like, I truly know what it's like to not have that education when you walk into a real estate investment.
Yeah.
My parents really got taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Do you share your duty? I mean, it's
Really
like a
wanna
big.
save your pennies, maybe go.
Yeah. It's like why, like people, I'm like convinced they get in 3 reasons, and if you're in for the 3rd reason, you don't make it. You're in for 3 reasons. You're in because I had an agent who helped me, and they were awesome, and I want to provide that same level of service, right? Valerie Kirby, McKinney, Texas. If you ever need someone, she's phenomenal. Like I still keep up with her. I call her my mom in McKinney, and when we had problems or things popped up, like Valerie would pop by. Like I referred her a ton of business.
That's cool.
She also tried to get me in real estate, funny enough. Or you had a terrible experience with a real estate agent, and you're like, this was terrible. I can do better than this. Or you're like, I can do this myself. Like this isn't that hard. And those people, like one of those 2 reasons, like I think you always do really well. If you're in it, if you're like, I'm just in it for the money. Like I don't think most people like it's not a big enough why to drive you over those phone calls, right? Like you got to get over that like hump in your real estate business, like that first 90 days, 120 days, and then you start getting clients and it's really fun. But if it's just money driving you, it's like it's kind of tough, I think. Even though the money's awesome and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'd like to make some.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm still waiting. No, I'm just kidding. It's not a good
But
approach.
you can
I'm
go.
not waiting for
You can
anything.
go call the expireds who raise their hand saying, "Hey,
Yeah, I know. I'm about to go sign up for Z-Buyer. Be like,
it's work.
Yeah,
It's a shit ton of work."
Z-Buyer.
Yeah.
that's right, girl. And then open houses. I have a
Open house is number
ninja
2.
selling,
Yeah.
and there was a lady in there who has a multi-million-dollar business probably at this point in time, and she got all of her clients through doing open houses. Whoever needed an open house, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yep.
Just like
Number 1, like revenue source in real estate is sphere of influence. So figure that out how you want to do that. Number 2 is open houses.
Wait, what did you say is number 1?
Number 3 is online leads.
Your
So
sphere
I'm
of
an idiot.
influence. Or
Oh.
Yeah, I just did my first one this weekend for the Preset Pro team.
Yeah.
And I set a goal. I want to try to do one a week going
Yeah.
forward if I can. Like if there's availability, because I just want to try to continue those to keep getting those
Yeah.
buyer leads.
Just keep it in. But eventually, like those, like some of those are sellers too. 23%.
Yeah.
Is that okay if other people say open house? I don't know.
You don't know them?
But
Yeah.
but I go.
Yeah.
But I go check the house,
Yeah.
and if there's somebody come here, I can offer. I'm the agent. Can I do that? Is that
No. So if it's someone else's open house and if you're checking it out, don't like rain on their parade.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty mad at you.
Yeah.
Well, I missed that. I don't
If
know.
you're at like if you're visiting an open house for someone else and then the person's running the open house and you're like, hey, I'm an agent too.
No, I mean, there's a people come to check the buyer, right? This is the sellers. That open house is a seller's agent over there.
Oh yeah, so if the seller, like example, I misheard your question. John Summers, who's an agent in our office, did an open house for me, the seller's agent, and he got all of those leads and everything else. Like, I'm more than happy to let him run that open house.
I would like to know what
So
happens
for all
if you
the
do this open house for somebody and somebody's like, oh my god, I love this, I'd like to put in an offer, and
You
they don't
write
have it.
an offer.
Yeah,
Cool, there you
so
go.
you just write
You
the
just
offer
make
for the
money.
person that
ERTB
you were
and
doing the open house.
1 out of
for?
1,000 that will happen.
So,
Okay.
1 out of 10,000.
That's gonna be me.
Sure. I joke around all the time. I don't like open houses. Because they're for
I'm
you
gonna
as
have a harp player in the corner and a
Sure.
charcuterie
in a
board
board.
and a jumping bounce house in the front. That's not gonna happen.
Okay.
With partners, and that's not gonna happen.
Okay. Alright, cool. Are we
Nice. All right. That's all I got. Any
I'm
questions?
ignited. I'm ignited.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, an ice sculpture, Rochelle.
Also, here was the